The year is October 1944, and newsreels like this one are playing in theaters throughout America.
Down to the hangar deck to await the next order to launch planes. Meanwhile, far to the south, General MacArthur prepares to return at last to the Philippines.
The United States and its allies are at war with the Japanese in the largest naval battle in history, just off the coast of Leyte in the Philippines.
The invasion armada of at least 600 vessels is the largest ever assembled by the Allies in the Pacific.
And inching closer to a historic moment that turned the tide in the first step of the Philippine Liberation Campaign.
An historic moment in the history of the Philippines. General MacArthur wades ashore. The bitter days of Corregidor are 2.5 years behind him.
That historic moment, right here at Red Beach in 1944, made good on a promise General Douglas MacArthur made that he would return to the Philippines. That historic moment is celebrated throughout the streets of Tacloban. On this day, school children march in the streets, the markets are full of activity, and a U.S. ship sits in the harbor to commemorate the historic day 60 years ago.
On behalf of the USS Lake Erie, I would like
USS Lake Erie represents the U.S. military, and on this night honors these veterans who served in the Pacific Battle to liberate the Philippines.
It's important to honor those folks that fought here and sacrificed so much, both the men and women of all the armed services that participated. It's also important for us to reacquaint and in some cases acquaint the citizens of the country of the Philippines as well as the United States that of what went on here and the specifics, again, of those men and women that sacrificed so much.
One of the veterans being honored on USS Lake Erie is Donald Denker. He served with the 96th Infantry Division and hit the beach just a few hours before General Douglas MacArthur waded ashore on October 20th, 1944.
The opposition, fortunately, wasn't that heavy. We had a couple men that were killed by rifle fire and others wounded exiting the landing vehicles, but basically we swamped the opposition.
On the morning of the anniversary, thousands of people gather at the General Douglas MacArthur Memorial. In a live broadcast to the nation, the President of the Philippines and a host of other dignitaries from the Allied effort each lay a wreath at the memorial site to pay their respects to the veterans who fought for Philippine liberation.
In this war against the insurgents and other terrorists, we are greatly assisted by our continuing partnership with the allies of the Leyte Landing, especially the United States. In the medium term, the U.S., for the next 6 years of my administration, the U.S. is assisting the Philippines in a wide-ranging type of defense reforms worth about 4 billion pesos.
Veterans of the Leyte Landing, know that we will continue to recognize this date as a day to draw renewed inspiration from your courage and sacrifice in the cause of freedom. We will pass on to our children what your great generation has passed to us, a world where liberty is the right of all humankind and where men and women will remain vigilant in its defense. George W. Bush, President of the United States of America.
The celebration quickly turns to the street with an historic reenactment of the Leyte Landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the sailors of the United States of America Navy.
USS Lake Erie is here to represent the U.S. Navy and mark the special anniversary with a new generation of sailors. They join the Philippine military in a parade recognizing the partnership of the two nations.
General MacArthur's troops encountered only feeble resistance before fanning out to take initial objectives on Leyte.
It's symbolic of what took place here on October 20th, 1944, where veteran Donald Denker stormed the beach with the help of his Philippine counterparts to fight in a campaign that would lead to freedom for millions of Filipinos.
In ceremonies at the provincial capitol building where President Osmeña speaks, captured Tacloban becomes the temporary seat of the Philippine Commonwealth government.
A freedom seen today in the streets of Tacloban. Tech Sergeant Rusty Barfield, AFN News, Leyte, Philippines.